It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy, just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Pat with a quick special announcement here to start this episode. The Smart Passive Income Podcast is up for an award this year. We've been nominated for the Podcast Awards for Top Business Podcast at podcastawards.com, and I need your help. Voting can happen daily between now and March 24th. So go ahead and go to podcastawards.com and look for Smart Passive Income under the business category. It would help out so much. We've been nominated twice in the past and we haven't won yet, but I think this is going to be the year. And if you are a hardcore SPI fan and you want daily reminders, go to ivoteforpat.com and sign up there for daily reminders. They'll be sent to you through March 24th, and I'll delete the list after that. So what do you say, guys? We're going to do it this year?
Please vote for Daddy for president.
No, not for president. For a podcast award. Thanks, guys. ivoteforpat.com, and here is the start of this episode. This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 152.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He took singing lessons for 2 weeks in college. Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Running a business means legal questions are inevitable. Is this contract or agreement solid? What can I do if a client won't pay me? Am I set up properly for taxes? Well, rather than trying to navigate all of this on your own or searching endlessly online, imagine having a law firm on your side without the high hourly rates. That's exactly what Legal Shield's small business plans offer. With Legal Shield, entrepreneurs get access to real legal support, contract reviews, collection letters, guidance on business formation, and even help handling IRS audits. Members can book consultations, upload documents through the app, and work with a provider law firm that understands small business laws in your state. You also get proactive help on tax and trademark questions so you can stay ahead of legal risks. And if a client delays payment, Legal Shield can send professional collection letters to help you recover what you're owed, all for a fraction of what traditional attorneys charge. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. What's up, everybody? Pat Flynn here, and welcome to session 152 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's going to be a great episode, and I have a little bit of a background story for you to introduce our guest today. Now, a lot of you know that me and my good friend, best friend actually, Chris Ducker and I, from chrisducker.com, he and I, whenever he comes to San Diego, he lives in the Philippines, but whenever he's in town, we do a mastermind session with about 20 people who come in, and it's called the One Day Business Breakthrough Event. And what we do is everybody gets 15 minutes in the hot seat, and we break their businesses down, and collectively we all help that person break through those issues and problems that they have. And there's so many success stories that have come out of these days. It's just been so fulfilling for both me and Chris. You might remember Shane and Jocelyn Sams, who were alumni, and we've had a number of other alumni featured on the blog and podcast as well. But this person was at our latest One Day Business Breakthrough event. He's an alumni from One Day BB. You can get more information about One Day Business Breakthrough at onedaybb.com. And actually, Chris and I have our next live event happening, which is going to be bigger than the 20-person event. There's going to be more people there live, but also, since a lot of people have been asking, how can we get access to it if we can't fly out, or we can't drive there, or we don't want to get a hotel, or we just don't have time? This is actually going to be broadcasted live over the internet as well. And if you're watching live on the internet, you'll be able to network and connect with other people as if you were there too. So it's going to be really, really cool. Check it out. You can go to onedaybb.com/live. Well, this person who is our guest today, his name is Cole Humphus, and he owns colesclassroom.com, which is a photography site. And there are two things I remember from Cole and his day at One Day BB with me and Chris. The first thing is just the way he got his business started and the way he monetized his business it's a really interesting story. And he tells that story here about how it was really a guest post that someone else posted on his site that really took things off for him. So we have a lot of lessons that can be learned from that, and how he's taken that and has grown his business since then. He is also, actually, by the time this episode goes live, I believe he will have just quit his job. So congratulations, Cole, if you're listening to this now. And I think a lot of us out there at the end of this will want to congratulate you as well, especially knowing how well you are doing too. But the other thing I want to mention about Cole that I remember is, because this is sort of a mastermind event, this One Day Business Breakthrough thing, anybody can participate and help each other out. And Cole is one of those standout students, I guess you could say, who was really, really outspoken with advice and tips and opinions and help other people's stuff. I mean, he was just so generous with his time and his effort of thinking about how to help other people. He's just one of those guys who, when you meet and you just talk to him for a minute, you can already tell that this guy is like just such a nice, down-to-earth guy. And you'll hear that in this episode too. So without further ado, let's welcome Cole Humphus from colesclassroom.com. What's up? Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, buddy.
Thanks so much for having me. This is awesome.
Dude, this is going to be super cool because, I mean, we've met in person before. We've had dinner before. And actually, we first met at one of me and Chris Ducker's One Day Business Breakthrough events. You were one of the live attendees. And, dude, you just killed it. I mean, what you have going on is so amazing. I can't wait to share what you are doing. So why don't you do that? Why don't you introduce yourself and what you're doing online to generate an income?
Sure thing. Yeah, so my website is colesclassroom.com. And Cole's Classroom is really, it's all about making you a better photographer and sort of the way obviously there's a whole lot of people out there doing that. And I think that one of the main differences between Cole's Classroom and other photography blogs is I'm really focused on community. And what I mean by that is not just having a place where, in a forum type aspect with a group and all that, but really just focusing on giving that personal touch to my email subscribers, whether it's blog comments or emails, just really me myself getting involved to give that personal touch to an otherwise very distant online world. So that's as Cole's Classroom has sort of grown. I've sort of started to narrow down the niche towards even some predominantly photo editing, but it's all out there and it's just been awesome. I started in 2012, sort of the very end of 2012. And it's just after a 6 or 7 months sort of slow grind, as you can imagine, and you recall probably those early days. Once you get a little momentum, it's awesome. I just love it, and I can't wait to share everything I can about some of the initial success stories that I have with your audience.
Yeah, and thank you again for being here. And one thing I remember about you, Cole, is when you attended that one-day business breakthrough event, you were so helpful and so giving to everybody else who was there, helping them with their businesses and sharing ideas and just being so open. So, I mean, I can already tell this is going to be an amazing interview. And I want to go back to what you talked about. First thing you said when I asked you what your business is, you started talking about the difference that you in the photography space has over everybody else, what your sort of unfair advantage is. And I want everybody to pay attention to that because it's so key. Yeah. And it was just so cool to hear you say that was the first thing, because even before you get into the business, you have to think about, okay, what's going to make yours different than everybody else's? And you talked about the personal touch, and that's a great advantage to have because nobody's like you, Cole. Nobody's like everybody out there who's listening. And when you can make that personal touch, and another site that maybe they're bigger and have better stuff, if they don't, they're going to more likely gravitate to you because you're the one actually paying attention to them and caring and actually doing things. So what are some examples of how you give a personal touch to your audience?
Sure thing. Like I sort of mentioned, but I can definitely go into more detail. I mean, it's the hardest thing is as you grow and as the audience grows and you have more blog comments, you have more YouTube comments, you have more people emailing you, whether it's questions or just to say hello. As you grow in general, and as I'm experiencing now, it does get harder to sort of keep up with that personal touch. But I mean, in terms of touching on what I've done and what I still feel I'm keeping up with pretty well, it's the simple things, really. It's just simply responding, giving that person an email reply and thanking them for, giving you some kind words or responding to those blog comments, answering their questions. And most recently, I've launched an actual, via a Facebook group, I've sort of created this community. And of course, it is a free community. And it has grown in about 5 or so months to about 3,000 members, which is amazing. And I'm in there, I spend time being in there and answering people's questions. So it's just like you with Ask Pat and all of the awesome info that you've provided to your audience. That's what sort of separates you from other podcasts or other blogs. And that's what I'm just simply trying to do. And it's really, to be honest, not a matter of me trying to do it to make more money or be more successful with business. It's because I enjoy giving that personal feedback and giving that personal element. That's really sort of what it's a passion to sort of give that value that I know they aren't getting elsewhere, because a lot of other blogs, maybe what they're expecting is to write an email to someone and they're expecting to not hear anything back. Mm-hmm. And I know you get that a lot. If you respond to someone, they're probably a lot of times surprised to hear from you. And that surprise element, that goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. And over time, as the business has grown, it's been really hard for me to respond to everybody.
It's very hard, yeah.
And so I've been outsourcing a lot of the responses. Not necessarily outsourcing, but I have an assistant, an executive assistant. Her name is Jessica. You heard her in episode 115, who responds for me, not as me, but for me, for certain emails. And the emails that have to go through to me do get put through to me. And when I respond to those, I still get the same effect. People, wow, you actually responded. And people often ask, is this Jessica or is this Pat? It's so funny. But let's rewind and go back to 2012 when you first started this. Did you have a job at the time that you started this site?
Yeah, I'll give a very quick sort of background with sort of how I sort of got involved with the online space and even a little before that. So, out of college, I started working for a finance company here in San Diego, actually. I think I sort of had some entrepreneurial spirit that I never really totally knew. But me and my buddies at lunch, a lot of times we would just sort of talk about business ideas and sort of we were trying to think of, what could we do to get out of the corporate grind, so to speak. And this was in 2008. And one day I had the idea of wedding photography. And, I got so jazzed on this idea because to me, Mr. Sort of Business, I thought this is the perfect side gig. It'll happen on the weekends. I'll work during the week and I can have this extra income. And I went and told a few people and they just laughed at me because they said, well, you don't even have a camera. You aren't a photographer. And I said, well, I understand that, but it's with the internet. I sure I can teach myself. And at the end of the day, if it's not something I enjoy or if it's not something I can do or am good at, I'll just simply have a decent camera. And so I won't go into the details, but the company was born Cold Joseph Photography. And to this day, 5 years later, we have grown, through the ranks and become one of the top wedding photographers here in San Diego. And it's just been amazing. So, that was sort of where my passion for photography started, albeit at a level of purely business, but it quickly turned into passion. And in 2012, I was doing an actual photo shoot for a fellow internet marketer buddy of mine. And I was asking him about his website and stupidly, or naively, I should say, I said, how's your website doing, man? And he said, oh, it's good. I said, are you making a lot of money on advertisements or what? I'm sure you've heard that before, Pat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, no, I'm doing these summits. And long story short, I picked his brain. And after that photo shoot, and I told him, I said, well, that's funny, dude, because I've been thinking about doing photography online. And he said, oh, you would kill it. So I went back to the computer and I sort of instantly started researching blogging and online business. Slowly after that, came across Smart Passive Income. And just sort of hit the ground running. So I launched my first YouTube video in October 2012. And, it's been a grind, but albeit a nice, steady run ever since.
So the first thing you did was, so you set up a website and then the first thing you did was kind of you had a YouTube video, which was about what?
Sure. It's sort of funny you say that. So the first video I ever did was actually it was just a run through of our exact wedding photography equipment that we use or we take to every wedding. And what's funny about that is, it's really hard being on video. And it's very scary. It's very intimidating. But I knew right from the get-go that I wanted to not only go after Google, meaning organic written blog posts, search engine optimization type thing. I wanted to sort of attack the YouTube market, so to speak. And so I was sort of doing a tag team. I did have a blog. I instantly had colesclassroom.com launched, and I was starting to write, but I was also doing YouTube videos. And the funny thing was that first video, I think I cropped my head out because the video aspect ratio was different than what I was used to. And I looked and I sounded nervous, and that ended up for, I think the first year had more views than any other video. So it was sort of ironic that in my mind, probably the poorest video that I had done ended up being the one that sort of helped launch me and get my audience.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I think that's a great story. And I really love the fact that when you first started and had these inklings to become an entrepreneur, you went into a niche that you had hardly any experience with. I'm sure you've taken photos with like a digital camera or your phone at the time, but you didn't even have a professional camera yet. You wanted to be a wedding photographer, and then you did that. That story alone is just really cool and shows that no matter where you're at, you can always make a change in your life.
Totally. And, I think the thing is as well is, especially for anyone else in the audience or listening who maybe they've been following you for a long time and they have their own ideas that they want to do something in the online realm and they want to get a piece of the action, but they feel they don't have time. It's just like me. Even if time wasn't the issue, it was the fact of I hadn't even owned a camera before. So all I'm trying to say is if you want something bad enough, you're going to make it happen. And in this day and age, there's so many amazing resources available. From building websites to producing videos to there's so much technology and so much knowledge out there on the web. There's no time. I mean, this is like unprecedented times, where it's out there for you to go after. And it's just so inspiring.
Mm-hmm. So you did your work on the weekends, obviously, because you're doing wedding shoots, and you still had your job at the time when you went into wedding photography, or did you kind of quit to go full time?
No. I was definitely still employed, and I actually am just about 1 month away from 1 month to the day of quitting my full-time job. So this is sort of a timely podcast because it's a real exciting time for me, and it's time to sort of ramp up and scale up and get away from the corporate job.
So you have this successful photography business. You have a successful online photography related business, yet you're still working a 9-to-5 job.
Pretty crazy, I know.
Well, talk about that. What made you, quote, stick around for so long?
Well, a lot of people, I think when they, now know that I'm quitting my job and, it's not the cheapest cost of living here in San Diego. So I definitely, people might think, oh, you're crazy to be quitting your job, but the truth is so they think I'm really risky because, I have this house and I got this, my wife, and how are you going to do it, with just weddings, or a lot of them don't even know the magnitude that online business can really have. But the truth is I'm really not that risky of a guy. So, to answer your question, I've been able to spend my time smartly enough and work smartly enough that I've been able to juggle all three things. And of course, when you're able to build these things that even if they start on the side and they're growing on top of your day job, which is paying a very nice salary, sometimes it's hard to just walk away because at the end of the day, I'm still going to be walking away from a very nice amount of money, which is a for sure thing each and every month, and putting food on the table. So,
right.
In terms of why I was doing it, it was really just to continue to really just make sure that I was making a financially wise decision, and ultimately set myself up to where I could go ahead and quit. And by the way, my wife is quitting as well. So we're doing this double whammy.
Wow.
But by building them both on the side for so long, we now have the confidence that we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay now because we've already sort of busted our butt juggling it all for the last couple of years.
So was it until you reached a certain level of savings, or until you reached a certain level of income from the online stuff, that you made this decision? Or what really spurred the decision to finally just say, okay, it's time to go full time with this?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a big switch was sort of made, probably about a year ago with me. And the switch was really mentally finally realizing that there's a lot more in life than just money, right? And making money and working. And it wasn't that I ever really wanted to work, say 7 days a week, juggling 3 jobs forever. But I sort of moved up that timeline in my head. I looked at, where we've been, and yeah, we've been successful with bringing in money and building businesses, and it's been awesome. And that money's really given us freedom to go travel and do really cool things. But what we didn't have time. We didn't have time for each other, for family, for the freedom to go travel to Europe for a couple of weeks if we wanted to not have to worry about going back to a job. So sort of the big, decision point was, hey, we aren't getting any younger. You never know what tomorrow will bring. So let's change it up and let's live right now.
Love it. Thank you for being honest with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not to discount that obviously we wouldn't be making this decision if Cole's Classroom hadn't grown to a certain point. I didn't have an actual number in my mind, but this last year, which was my first year of actually monetizing the business, far exceeded my gut goal that I had for 2014. And it really sort of opened up the idea that, wow, if we did this well with part-time work, I think we can really scale it up nicely if I had an extra 40 hours a week to contribute.
Can you give us some insight on what 2014 was like for you?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so I launched my first product right at basically the end of 2013 in December. So pretty much 2014 was a first clean year, start to finish. And I didn't know what to expect in terms of dollars or anything like that. And I had this random number in my head of, man, it'd be great if I could make $50,000. Mm-hmm. And, we passed that, I think, around the mid-year point, and I was thinking, wow, this is really good. And I just sort of put pedal to the metal and launched a couple more products and really went for it. And we ended up closing out the year at $135,000 in revenue.
Dude, congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, it sort of, in a way, just blew me away. But like I said, it just showed me the potential that's there. Today we're at, we've grown the email subscribers to over 46,000. We're growing about 150 new subscribers a day organically. I've been running some Facebook boosted post type things where I'm getting another about 200 or so from that. So I'm definitely just in sort of scale up mode at the moment, and it feels awesome.
So you started the blog in 2012, and then you started kind of posting on YouTube around the same time. And you said you didn't monetize until almost the end of 2013. So you went maybe a year and a half with purely providing content.
Yeah, totally. It was actually not quite a year and a half, but a little more than a year. But yeah, so one full year of just purely content, and trying to build that audience.
And what made you decide to finally monetize? I think that's a big decision that a lot of people have to make. They may spend a lot of time building an audience, and they might have an audience already, and then they just kind of struggle with making that decision. Well, how can I monetize something that I've already done and given away for free? Give us your thought process when, at the end of 2013, you were ready to monetize your site.
Yeah, especially with me, or anyone out there who's, doing this like online thing on the side, it's so nice to get kudos and blog comments, but those don't pay the bills. And, there wasn't a doubt in my mind when I started it that ultimately I wanted to make money from Cole's Classroom. Now, what happened was I didn't know when I launched Cole's Classroom, I didn't really have a plan of what that first product was going to look like, what it was going to be. And what happened was it just so happened that the one post that sort of got ranked really high on Google and started bringing in most of my traffic was actually on newborn photography. And the sort of funny thing about that is that was actually a guest post. That wasn't one that I wrote.
That's
I was
so
sort of
weird.
Yeah. And by the way, Crystal Cienfuegos Photography, she's in San Diego, and she's an amazing newborn photographer. She was a friend of mine. So we were bringing in all these newborn photographers to the website. So instantly light bulbs went off in my head, and I thought, well, there I have it. Give the people what they want. Most of my list at the moment is for newborn photography. So we're going to create a newborn photography course. And naturally, I'm going to at least talk to Crystal and see if she wants to be involved on that. So we put together a sort of A to Z, everything you need to know to become a successful newborn photographer. And that was our first course.
And how much did that course sell for?
That course launched at $197.
$197. Tell us, what is this course like? Is it videos? Is it a sort of webinar series where they get access to you?
Yeah, sure thing. It's a totally passive, video workshop type product. I had a videographer buddy who came over, and we sort of, obviously we sketched out the outline, sort of what is it that people are going to need to know if they want to get into newborn photography. And in literally one full day, we sort of, with our videographer, just banged it out on a couch and, just in front of the camera, just sort of, I was basically the host and sort of the teacher, so to speak, helping ask, Crystal these questions that people would want to learn from. And that was it. We also had a segment which was literally we followed Crystal on an actual photo shoot. So
smart.
Over basically a day and a half of actual recording, put it together, edited it down, and packaged it up, and that's it. So there is no membership type aspect or forum aspect to that course.
Okay, so it's all a complete sort of suite of information with videos and things like that to help people become newborn photographers, put together in a day and a half. Listen to that, everybody. A day and a half. In 2 days, you can have your course ready to go.
Well, that was just the recording.
Oh, okay. Well, still.
Yeah.
And so obviously it took more time to set it up and things like that. And then walk us through the process of actually, okay, you have this, it's complete, this package is ready to go, and the marketing of it before you push out and launch. How did you sort of get people ready for this, or did you just put links on that post and maybe send an email out?
Yeah, at that time, I actually sort of vaguely remember, I think my list was just shy of 10,000 subscribers. So I had a fairly decent sized list. And, it was as simple as marketing it through my list, which at the time I was using MailChimp.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I did include links in a banner on that post that to this day is still ranking in Google. But for that initial launch, it was just a simple email. And honestly, I don't even think I had any follow-up emails, and I surely didn't have the list segmented. But if I recall, I think that first launch, so that product from that email, I want to say it brought in like $2,500 or $3,000, or it might have been even a little less. I think it was somewhere around $2,000 right away, which, isn't a lot of money. But at that time, I remember when my phone buzzed off with that special ringtone I had for Cole's Classroom. And that first sale came within, I think, it felt like within 60 seconds from when I sent that email.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Instantly, you just get this feeling of oh my gosh, I just made $200 and I'm sitting here. And obviously that sort of is a little spark to go after it more and more and more and build more products and give more value.
Yeah, it just makes me remember my first sale and kind of just being so blown away by it. I had to go outside and walk around a little bit. And then
it's sort of addicting.
Yeah. And then when I got back to my computer from that walk, there was another sale that came through. And I was like, wow, this passive income thing is for real. And so speaking of passive income, this course is still available, I assume. Is it still making sales?
It is. It's actually been the full sort of newborn suite of products, because I also have some newborn Lightroom presets, which is a tool to really for photo editing. And they're definitely still probably one of the best selling products that we have.
That's
and
so cool.
I think a lot of that is, I'm getting warm leads every single day. As long as that newborn photography tips post is still in Google, when people are searching for newborn photography tips, they're seeing my site right at the top. So, it makes sense that product is still selling so well, because people are looking for help, and here it is. And oh, by the way, if you want more, we have this workshop available.
That's really cool. So you have the newborn photography course. You have your, what was it? The Lightroom filters. Is that what you said?
Right. So they're called Lightroom presets, and it's for anyone who's not a photographer. Presets in Lightroom are essentially, they're far more complex than an Instagram filter, but it's the same idea. So it's basically just bundling a collection of settings, so to speak, so that with one click you can have a different look to your photos when you're editing.
That's very cool. How are those selling?
Awesome. People love the presets. Your podcast is one of the ones I listen to the most, and I forget who it was, but I remember someone on your podcast on one episode talking about people want to buy tools. Give them tools. And I think that idea of just give me the tools. Think of your consumers. They want something quick. They want a result quick. And I think that's why the presets for me have sold so well, is because people, they see my photos. They see that I'm using the presets. It's easy to show them in terms of how you apply them. And within 5 minutes, they could have purchased it, downloaded to their computer, uploaded them or imported them into Lightroom, and instantly are applying my custom looks to their photos. So the presets definitely sell good, truthfully, a little more so than a lot of my more detailed video workshops.
Interesting. Okay, so you have other workshops too, but let's talk about this tools things really quick. That was Clay Collins from Lead Pages who had mentioned that.
Perfect.
And he had mentioned that, if you're gonna do a lead magnet, some type of ebook or a giveaway, make it short and just make it about the tools. That's what people want. You don't necessarily have to make that lead magnet a 90-page thing that people aren't really always gonna read anyway. So the tools are a fantastic thing, and I know from experience through selling the Smart Podcast Player that it's just such a cool feeling to see people purchase something and use it and get what they paid for right then and there, as opposed to information which people first have to consume and then put into action, and then even then they might not get the same results.
Yeah, totally. And it's funny that you mentioned Clay Collins. That was the first webinar that I ever think I watched, which was the one that you did with him on Lead Pages and getting subscribers. And that was also the first product that I ever purchased on a webinar. I didn't mean to go and listen and end up coming out purchasing something, and I did. And that was really sort of what lit the spark at Cole's Classroom was, getting lead pages. And this isn't any sort of paid endorsement. I'm not even an affiliate of Lead Pages, but literally it just ramped up my email subscriber list so much that from that point forward is how I've been able to bring on so many new email subscribers. I mean, my presets opt-in page over a year's worth of data still has an average conversion of 65%.
See, this really excites me, Cole, when you talk about lead pages like this, because unless you don't know already, I am an advisor for the company, and just to hear these types of things, which I hear all the time, it's really cool. Can you give us more specific sort of tactics and strategies on how you're building your email list, whether they're related to lead pages or not? You don't need lead pages to obviously build a list, and you can run a lot of the same tactics without it. But how are you building your list? So you mentioned a landing page for your presets. How are you promoting that landing page, and what are you offering?
Yeah, sure thing. So my main lead magnet is simply 15 free Lightroom presets. So, a long time ago, I knew that I needed something really valuable that people would want, so I can build my list. And I came up with that even before I knew I was going to ultimately sell presets. And I use lead pages because, quite frankly, I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not very good at it at all, and I'm definitely not a web designer. And it's just so easy to make a page that really converts really well. And
I swear I didn't pay you to say this for everybody out there.
Well, no, that's the truth. And
right.
I'm sure there's so many other people out there that also aren't web designers. So for me, it's just so simple and easy. And I mean, I like stats, so it's nice that, they have it so you can split test. And anyways, lead pages is awesome. And the way I use lead pages is I have my one actual lead page. And the funny thing is at the time it was what they would label as their, I think, simple lead page or lead conversion or opt-in page. And it has I'm using the stock photo that they have on their template of some girl in some attractive girl looking at the opt-in box. Right. And I just said, well, let's give it a shot and see how the statistics go. And if the conversion is failing, I'll try a different photo. And with a 70% conversion at the time, I thought, well, there's no reason to change it. But on my website, I have various lead boxes. So in terms of my strategy, what I have is by blog category. So if someone is on a blog post about wedding photography, I have a lead box at the bottom of that, or I have a button rather, which links to a lead box that is basically targeted with my copy, my words, to try and appeal to wedding photographers, to give them more wedding photography info. Mm-hmm. And on a photo editing blog post, I have something targeted for, hey, sign up and get my free presets. And in addition to lead pages and lead boxes, I use opt-in monster. So I have a pop-up. I have an opt-in pop-up that actually converts very well too. That converts about, I think, 6 or 7% of, in terms of cold traffic coming to the site. And like I mentioned in the beginning, I just now started with a Facebook, Facebook ads, but really it's more of a Facebook boosted post, which has been working really, really well for me for those presets. And I send them straight to the lead page. I don't even mess with having them go to my website. I just want them to go straight to that 65% converting lead page.
Because then that's where they get on your list, and then you can take care of them from there.
Right. And on Facebook right now, my average client acquisition cost on those subscribers on my ad spin is like no more than 20 cents a pop.
So you're paying essentially through Facebook ads 20 cents per email that's coming into your email list.
Right.
And then, of course, you take them through a process where you eventually sell them or pitch them something. Can you go through the process of what happens when people subscribe to your list? Do you have those lists segmented based off of those types of posts that you mentioned earlier?
I did. So, recently I actually, as you remember when we had dinner, I actually had moved from MailChimp over to Entreport. And without going into details, I've since moved to Infusionsoft, which I'm loving. Mm-hmm. So I'm with Infusionsoft now. And with Entreport, I had set up different funnels so that if someone came in for wedding photography, they were in the wedding photography funnel. And, and what that consisted of wasn't even products. That's just pure content, which obviously would be tied to that subject. Mm-hmm. Photo editing, And then I even have a category, which is beginner photography. And what I realized from the statistics was, sort of much to my dismay, was I really was hoping to have more people coming in from a wider variety of those topics. And I didn't see that at all. Most of my traffic, most of my subscribers, they're coming in to learn about photo editing. They're coming in for me to teach them about Lightroom. So, with that said, I didn't want to have all these funnels if most of the people weren't even entering the funnels to begin with. Mm-hmm. So in Infusionsoft, the way my email list or my funnel and my sequences look is they opt in and they instantly get their welcome email. It's very personal in tone, and it's very appreciative that they're here. I give them the link where they can go grab their free presets, and I let them know in the next day or two, you're going to get some awesome stuff from me. So make sure to stick around, because I'm going to send you my very best tutorials that, the most popular ones that I've ever published.
Perfect.
And the very next day, I give them their very first tutorial, which is one on Lightroom, fixing skin tones in photo editing. But before I go into the content there, I actually start off the top of the email letting them know a little bit more about myself, because I really want to sort of let them know I'm a real person and they're hearing from me. So I have a couple photos and I sort of talk about the photos. One of them is me playing guitar, and I talk about my band. Nice. And another one is Nicole, my wife, with our little dog, Chloe, our little Yorkie. And, the whole point is to sort of really quickly show them, A, thanks for being here. B, I'm a real person. And more importantly, I get a lot of value to send you, so stick around. And from that point on, I think right now I have about 15 different emails in the sequence. And every fourth or fifth, I go about 3 or 4 of pure content, and then I have a product, that I offer them or show them if they want to learn more. Mm-hmm. I am planning on revising that and really putting in some sort of if-then type logic. But since I just moved literally to Infusionsoft 2 weeks ago, I haven't got to that point.
Right, but I still think it's really insightful what you talked about, where you set up these funnels, but then you realized that just one of them was really the one that was taking off for you, and you sort of shifted gears. And like you said at the beginning of the podcast, you're sort of niching down even further.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think, like you say, the riches are in the niches. And, photography is such a general topic. It's so broad. And, even at the business breakthrough and just anything, it's so important to try and find your target client or your ideal audience. And it's hard, and I sort of start off with sort of that wide net. I know wedding photography, so I have wedding photography and I know editing really well. And then I have business stuff. I am a businessman. I love talking about it. And I have a lot of awesome, really, really some of my best stuff is on pricing and business. But unfortunately, those are like some of the least visited blog posts I have. So it's sort of like, don't fight the tide, If the data is showing me that the people want photo editing help or photo editing tools, then I should probably put a lot of my focus there.
Do you ever battle with the fact that this might not be going down in the direction that you thought it would be going down, in terms of, now you're starting to become the, help me edit guy, the Lightroom guy. Do you ever think about that?
I haven't, because fortunately, even before I started Close Classroom, I became a editing guy. I enjoyed it, and I really was on a mission to try and develop a process that was so efficient and so effective. And I sort of did, So I had to, because if I was the first year that I was doing weddings, I was doing it on top of my full-time day job, and we did 28 weddings that year, and I literally couldn't afford to spend 24 hours for every wedding that we shot. I didn't want to. That just eats into your profits, right? So, to answer your question, no, I'm okay with being the editing guy. And, quite frankly, I'm starting to become known as the Lightroom guy, and I'm okay with that because it's something that I've put a lot of time and sort of heart into becoming an expert in.
Yeah. I'm just going further with this because I'm also thinking about myself, because as Smart Passive Income, we do a ton of different experiments in all different types of platforms and niches and things like that. I would feel like if I just stuck with podcasts, and everything became only podcasts, and everything I talked about was I became known as the podcasting guy, there would be this whole group of people that I would be leaving behind. And so I'm just wondering, because I think a lot of people would feel the same way, or I want to have a conversation about this, and just in case they are met with something like this in the future, it's important to look at analytics and see what's working for you and go down that direction. But then there's a line there. Well, who might you be leaving behind? Should you even worry about them? Because what if you became known as the editing guy, but you're still getting all these newborn photographers coming and they're not really interested, or maybe you just happen to be in a great situation because editing applies in all different facets of photography.
Totally. And I mean, I really don't have any intention on niching it down to where that's the only content that I'm showing, because I still want to give value in more ways than just editing help. I mean, especially with my passion being on the business end of things as well. But I mean, in terms of your example, Pat, I mean, it's somewhat different because I understand what you're saying about podcasts. You don't want to only do podcasts if there's other people that live elsewhere and want to see you on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But I think the difference is that's a different platform, but it's potentially the same content. You're just delivering it in a different manner.
Right.
And I'm a believer in that. I mean, I'm a believer in sort of, that's why I do YouTube videos, because I think there's really, and I actually am thinking about getting into podcasting, because I think there's so much, there's pros and cons to each, but there's so much value to be had when you can hear the voice on a podcast, or when you can actually see a on-screen tutorial or whatever. So I'm right there with you. But I would suggest and advise, not that I think you're going to do it, keep doing it all. If you got the time for it, because you definitely will reach other people that some will prefer the podcast and some like to read on the blog post.
Right. I mean, I know that I came to a point a year and a half ago where I had to make a decision do I expand on these other platforms, or for some, it's go back to these platforms like YouTube, which I left behind, but I'm now back with SPI TV. Do I do that and burn out and risk the chance of having each of those things be just not up to par, or do I hire more people to make that happen? And
yeah,
I eventually, as most people know, I've hired people. They're not employees, they're contracted, but I've worked with a lot of people to help me produce the things that I want to produce to get into all these different spaces. And I know I'm sort of unique in that position in the online world where, I feel like that I have to keep trying new things for the purposes of seeing how I can win with it or fail with it to help other people in case that happens to be the way that they want to do things. But sorry, this isn't a show about me. This is a show about you, Cole.
No, I was just going to make sure I didn't go off on a tangent by continuing on with that thought you had.
No, let's bring it back home because we're closing up here. And this has just been a fantastic interview, Cole. Why don't you tell us kind of what's on deck for you? So you built this successful online business. You're about to quit your job. Can you tell us, or do you have like a specific date on when you're going to do that?
When I'm quitting?
Yeah.
Yeah. My last day's March 5th, so it's coming up quick, and we can't wait. But what the plan is going to be is really focus on scaling the business, and my goal is to just really maximize building the email list, building that community, and have the opportunity to really put out more content, because I hit it hard in the beginning because I had to. And luckily, this last probably 6 months, I've scaled back on how much new content I've put out. And luckily, the dollars have still been coming in. So that's good. But really, I want to get into giving more value, putting out new content. And I'm going to have the opportunity to really focus more. And that's been the hardest thing by juggling 3 different jobs, is to really focus, especially when you have limited time. So I'm most excited about being able to focus and develop some new products. I want to develop a membership sort of aspect to Cole's Classroom. And I'm actually starting all over again with my sister, who is an executive chef and had recently quit. And we just launched a site that I built for her called Cat's Kitchen Collective. And so I'm it's going to be interesting, but I definitely need the time because I'm trying to scale Cole's Classroom, which has already been up and running, but I'm also helping guide her to build her audience. And really, it's sort of forcing me to remember what it was like back in those early days. And she's off to an amazing start, but it's definitely humbling to go back to those first months,
Right. I mean, I felt the same way when I built Food Trucker, and it was nice to get into it again and see where I was, so I can remember how to teach people when they are starting out too. So that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that, Cole.
Yeah, totally.
Man, okay, your sister quit, you're quitting, and
my
wife is quitting too.
We're all quitting.
I mean, you are far from a bunch of quitters, though. You guys are action takers, so that's so awesome. And Cole, again, thank you so much for sharing your story and these tips with us. It's going to be really, really helpful for people. And this show will go live less than a week after you quit. So I will be the first using my special time travel tools to congratulate you on quitting your job. And we wish you all the best. Really quick, would you want to share your website URL one more time and maybe where else people can connect with you?
Sure. Yeah. No, thanks, Pat. It's been awesome. People can find me at colesclassroom.com. Go over there and grab your free presets. And, the best way to get a hold of me is through Facebook at the Coles Classroom page, or even email cole@colesclassroom.com. So absolutely feel free to send me an email. I'd love to hear from you all.
Cool. We'll have that all available in the show notes for everybody. So stay tuned. I'll tell you all the information about that. Oh, actually, this will be episode 152 for everybody. So, and then you can even wish him good luck and congrats on quitting as well on the Facebook page. So we'll have all the show notes there. smartpassiveincome.com/session152. Cole, you rock, buddy. Thanks for all the inspiration. And we'll have to have dinner again sometime soon.
Sounds great, Pat. Talk soon, man.
Talk soon. All right, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Cole Humphus, again, from colesclassroom.com. That's COLES classroom.com. And of course, we'll have all the show notes available for you at smartpassiveincome.com/session152. And thanks again, Cole, for coming on. We'll have to, get a dinner again sometime. He and I live fairly close to each other, so we'll hang out. And I'll keep you up to date on his stuff too, because he's got some great things going on. And I know just today, actually, he did a webinar the day of this recording that I'm recording this right now. He did a webinar and he was just telling me how pumped he was for it. So Cole, congratulations. Well done. And thank you for sharing all your wisdom and your experience. It's such a cool story. I hope it inspires a lot of you out there and hopefully gets a lot of you to take action, just like what Cole's doing. Guys, I've really been enjoying this podcast, and I will continue to do it in the future for you. I know a lot of you have taken the information that I've shared here, the interviews that we've done with other experts and other people, and have actually taken action with it. And I just love you for that. I'm so thankful that I have an audience who is actually not just learning, but learning and putting things into place to make change in their lives and the lives of others too. I mean, we're all here to serve other people, I hope. But I know a lot of you also need a little bit more help. I've been getting messages left and right from people who have been asking for more and deeper information about certain things. So what I've done is that I've actually put together a number of courses, and there's more courses coming in the future, thanks to your recommendations. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/courses, you'll see a list of the courses that are currently available there or that you can sign up for the waitlist for. Again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/courses. Check it out. I also want to thank audiobooks.com, one of the original sponsors here on the Smart Passive Income podcast. They're so awesome. They're such nice people. And this is how I listen to books. I listen to books on the go whenever I have the chance. And audiobooks.com is premium. So if you go to audiobooks.com/SPI, you'll get a few things. You'll get a 30-day free trial. Yes, 30-day free trial. And you'll get exclusive free access to my Amazon bestselling book, Let Go. You'll get the audiobook to that for free. The Kindle version is like $2.99, but you can get the audiobook for free. Again, audiobooks.com/SPI. This is such a cool deal. Plus, you can get your first audiobook in addition to Let Go on audiobooks.com. So then if you like the service, you can enjoy a new book every single month after that. So again, check it out, audiobooks.com/SPI. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening in. Thank you, Cole, for being a guest on the show today. And I can't wait to bring you next week's episode. Got a ton of great stuff going on. And I hope you all are enjoying SPI TV. If you don't know, but I have a TV show. It's not actually a TV show because it's not on television. You can't tune in on your box at home unless you are on iTunes. You can check it out. It's a video podcast, or on YouTube as well. If you go to watchspi.tv, you can check that out. I've had a number of episodes go out. They come out every Friday, and people are loving it. And I'm just loving getting back on YouTube and get in front of you guys in that way. So again, thank you so much. This is episode 152, and I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in 153. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
More people dream about building their own business and being their own boss rather than retiring early. But a majority of them never even take the first steps to register the business. Why? Because starting a business can feel overwhelming. With legal forms, paperwork, finances, it's a lot. And that's where Taylor Brands comes in. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal and business assets separate from day one. And from there, you can get access to everything you need to get off the ground, from legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, our listeners get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. Just head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands. Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? Record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips. Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio quality audio and high resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART.